All right, Avi, this past week was a tough one to swallow. Really was. As you look back on it, from I think take out the first minute of the game and the last 2 minutes of the game and overtime, and we played really well. There's a lot of things that are really positive. A lot of both sides of the ball. And a lot of things that we did, but the reality is you can't. And you got to come out and you got to play well. And the first minute we didn't play very well. We turned the ball over twice and give up 10 points, and then the last 2 minutes, just kind of, we pride ourselves on finishing. That's something that we kind of throughout the entire offseason, the way we train and the things that we do, the ability to finish. We played really well in the fourth quarter of every game, and we didn't find a way. We didn't find a way to finish game. We didn't find a way to finish it when we needed to, and that's the thing that's tough. That's the thing that's difficult, but we got to move on. And I think that's where we are right now, is finding a way to move on. You can't go on the road and not play complimentary football and win. And that's, so we got to learn from it. And I think that our guys came back in on Sunday, not sure exactly how they were going to feel, not sure exactly how coach was going to react and respond, and they came in and we were honest and I was honest and very upbeat and, hey, we got a long way to go, and we got a lot of things that that are still out there that we want to be able to do, and it's going to take some adversity. So, I'm proud of what they did on Sunday. Now, what it comes down to is the ability to kind of play angry, to kind of be angry about what how we didn't finish and how we didn't take care of business, and not just save that for Saturday, but to do that today when we come out to practice. To kind of have that mindset that, hey, understand something, that hurt, that's a pit in our stomach. The way you get rid of it is go back to work and do the things you do. We did it on Sunday. We got to do it again today. We got to do it on Wednesday. Get ourselves back into that mode and that routine, feeling good about what we're doing. So, we're going to have a challenge. Go on the road. Road games are difficult. It always is. So you got to bring your best. You got to play complimentary football on the road, and that's going to be the challenge for us. I didn't say. I said you got to be angry. Yes, playing, but practice angry. I think it's just a mentality. I don't want it to think you're going to go out there and start taking swings and different things like that. I know, but the idea that there's one of two things when you get that pit in your stomach. You can start feeling sorry for yourself. You start being a little bit of that. Oh, what if this would have happened? What if this call or this call or this call? And if you do, then you waste a lot of time. So I think the mentality of, hey, we're angry about it, so what do you do when you're angry? You go to work. You mentally get tougher, and you got to do the little things right.
Coach, did this loss feel different than any of the ones last year?
Yeah, a lot different. Obviously, we got beat against SMU in overtime, and you had an opportunity, but I don't know that we've had the ability to I'd say, play well and control the football game, be up. In a lot of those situations, outside of the first minute, I'm not saying you're in complete control because you're losing, but you felt like you were in real control of what it is we were doing. That last 2 minutes, that last 2.5 minutes in overtime, that's when all of a sudden you didn't feel like you were in, command, didn't feel like you had the upper hand and things like that. And when that happens, it doesn't mean it's a loss, doesn't mean it's over. It just means you got to find a way. Someone's got to step up. Someone's got to make that big play. It's not going to be some play call. It's not going to be some special trick. It's, you got to find a way to get that momentum back.
Watching the film, what did Temple do to the passing game on Saturday?
Yeah, they played good, tight coverage, and they had a good plan. You got to give them credit. They took away the boundary with an aggressive approach. Sometimes dropping out some guys underneath them, but it's they made you challenge. They challenged you on every throw, and so when those things start to happen, when you're not comfortable about what it is you're doing, I think that you become you hesitate just a little bit. But they also, not just the tight coverage, I think they did a good job at harassing the quarterback. And I don't mean that they had sacks, but I don't know that there was ever an opportunity for him to kind of sit back there in a nice pocket, move his feet a little bit, be comfortable to deliver footballs. They did a good job at twisting and just making him uncomfortable.
SMU has lost to some ranked teams, but they also what concerns you?
I think they played very good complementary football. I think the first few weeks you've kind of seen them, probably the last 4 or 5 weeks, really kind of settle into who they are. It was a first year of changing some things, but you kind of see them settle in a little bit more who they are defensively, a little bit more who they are offensively, settled into a quarterback. So I think that they have the leading receiver in the league, leading touchdowns. I mean, they're doing a good job at distributing the ball, spreading the field offensively. Defensively, they're aggressive. I mean, you could pop on the film against Michigan in the first half. It's 7-7 with about a minute to go in the first half. And Michigan hasn't run the ball an inch. They've maybe threw the ball down the field to get themselves down there. But they play aggressive up front football, and I think you could just see that complementary football starting to kind of take over, as opposed to maybe they struggled a little bit early on in the first game or two.
Were you given any additional explanation on the field goal that was called off?
Still waiting for a little bit more of an additional explanation, but as a coach, it's the same thing I just said. How much time and energy do you spend on it? I got to find a way, and two things: find a way to make sure that doesn't happen again, so that I can coach it the correct way, and then even like on the replay stuff, I got to make sure that I understand exactly, every play is reviewed. They reset the game clock. They review it again. They say go. They call a timeout. They review it again. Now they switch it. So I think as a coach, instead of whining and complaining about it, I just got to learn to make sure that I know exactly how things are to be handled, so I can coach it the right way. And I know how to use, a timeout in some of those ways. They keep telling you, well, coach, they can call a timeout and challenge any call. I know that. I mean, you can do that in Little League almost, But in college football, they say you should never have to do that because every play is reviewed. So I just got to know for sure, okay, if the review is happening someplace else and it's not on site, does that mean that you're more apt to call a timeout because they didn't get enough opportunities and enough time to review it? So, I think as a conference, that ought to let us know right before the game starts. Just so as a coach, not saying it changes yet, as a coach, and you have a plan for how you're going to execute things. So, players learn from games like that. If coaches don't learn from games like that, then we won't grow.
First time this year, you guys are really going on the road outside Cincinnati 2 times, 2 weeks in a row. How do you use coaches, players compared to that?
Sometimes you enjoy a road game, to be honest with you. It's just your guys. There's not as many distractions. You go a little bit further away. Maybe you don't have as many people that even come to the hotel. So you get to spend a little bit more time as a team with less distractions. I don't think it affects them as far as, well, we got to leave earlier, and practice goes from 1 o'clock to 10:45 now. But no, it's almost one of those things that guys, hey, let's enjoy this. We got an opportunity to come together without a whole lot of other distractions.
Have you talked to Pitts about the second injection? I know you guys played hard, but I think you mentioned after the first one, like that was an injection too.
No, yeah, it's something we coach up again, and we addressed it Sunday in the team meeting, and and in reality, it's something for the safety of himself, and that's what you worry about. The worst thing is the worst on the player. He could have got a bruised sternum, but for our guy, for himself, for what harm he put himself into, so we continue to coach it. We call it a defensive player tackle. We actually teach and coach a defensive player tackle, and it's a shoulder-led tackle between the nipples and the knees, and nothing above the chest, and nothing below the knees, and nothing with anything with the head. So it's not something you can easily practice. It's not like we're going to take a guy out there and say, hey, we're going to come and work on defensive player tackles. It's something that you just got to continue to reiterate, show clips from not just our guy doing it, unfortunately, but clips of other guys doing it, and to be aware of when those situations arise.
Going on the road to SMU and after that, how tough is this 5-game stretch to end the season?
Well, we knew that, and I think that's where you can look at it one way. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a heck of a challenge. Or you could say, hey, we're going to find out a lot more about our team and our players. And I think that's the attitude we've tried to take with this. Is say, hey, we know this second half of the season, this stretch was going to be and is going to be a challenge. And how do you accept challenges? How do you handle challenges? Is it going to be perfect? No, it's not going to be. Is it going to be a dogfight? Is it going to be a struggle every single week? You're darn right it is. and that's what we got to pride ourselves. That's why that's why this past one hurts a little bit, because you kept talking about those things, and you'd been so good in the fourth quarter, and you'd been so good at finishing those tight situations. They're gonna continue to be there, whether it's this week, whether it's next week, whether it's the following week. There's going to be a bunch of them, and it's going to determine a lot of how the outcome of this game is going to happen.